So I believe that each time before we get into some sort of program, some project, any kind of plan that requires time, energy, effort, somehow we're always prepared for the difficult, for the hard work, the sweaty days, sleepless nights. We're always ready for that. But somehow when it comes to language learning and English learning, it's going to be a piece of cake. A lot of people believe that you can actually learn a language from scratch in 6 months. So yes, hello, hi, welcome. My name is Paulina, and today here on Lemonizi, I wanted to talk about certain things that help me make this process a bit easier. Let's start with saying that you need to put effort to learn a language, and not because it needs to be painful or something. It doesn't need to be painful. It doesn't need to be stressful. It doesn't need to be a problem. But in the modern age, we're so used to believing that anything can be instant. Anything can be like right now. Even the fact that we're always producing more and more short videos and we're consuming short format content. It's like we all want everything now, but sometimes certain skills, certain things require time. Start with that. You can't imagine getting to know a language and starting studying it and believing that it's going to take, an hour a week and you will learn the language soon enough. You always need to put your best foot forward, which doesn't need to be stressful, but it doesn't mean that it's a piece of cake. It's like, the gray area between doing nothing, impossible, unreachable goals. It needs to be some sort of work which is sustainable, which is doable for weeks and then months, and it's a habit. I believe that a great piece of advice would be creating smaller chunks of work. So don't plan to study 4 hours every single day. Even the simple fact of having 30 minutes, a 20-minute video, a 10-minute video, reading a short article, watching a short TikTok in English, anything, but keep it constant every day. Try to watch every single day and be surrounded with your target language. Never skip the small tasks. Try to think about topics. For example, today I want to learn what the members of family are called. Maybe today I will look into personality adjectives, some interesting verbs, something like small chunks every day, and you are happy because you have done something. As I mentioned in another video, we always forget about functional language. So try to think about interactions that occur, among us humans, during lessons or in the workplace or with people on the street, with friends, how to apologize when you can't hear somebody on the phone. Like, sorry, could you repeat that, please? Or, come again? If you need to agree with someone, oh, I see. It usually feels very robotic when we interact with people in another language because we never know how to, express our feelings, our emotions, because that kind of language is never studied. Do not rely on theory like 100%. First of all, because language is alive, like it's something that lives, it changes all the time. Even in songs, basic English grammar rules are not followed. For example, Sam Smith is singing "Mommy Don't Know," and it should be "Mommy Doesn't Know." And also in everyday English, if you listen to native speakers in a non-academic context, you will hear every single day mistakes or some, repetitions. The reason is that we need to be more flexible. So yes, we learn the rules, but we also need to get in touch with the reality and real materials. And second reason, don't be too strict on rules and theory, because it feels like, imagine you're going to the gym, you get your exercises written and how you should perform them, etc., etc. You could study all the theory of those exercises, like perfectly, every single muscle, every single bone, every junction, everything that is connected to that exercise, you could learn it. And then you would probably go to the gym, and if you're not used to performing that exercise, you will still fail. Your body doesn't know how to move, and you could make some sort of mistakes or still be, you know, kind of maybe awkward. Maybe it would just look impractical. It would feel a bit strange and uncomfortable because you're not used to doing it. You're just used to imagining it and knowing the why and the how and the what. You've never practiced it. Same thing for the language, same thing. Before I could practice with native speakers, I always felt like, oh, I know grammar rules, I know everything.
I know the third conditional, I know the irregular verbs.
I know the present perfect, so I know everything about English, right? And then you just start talking with someone. Someone even asks you, like, where's the restroom in English? And you're like, me? Oh no, non parlo, no, italiano, inglese no. And that's absolutely normal because we're not used to it and we feel afraid and we never practice. Theory, absolutely key. Like, it's very, very important. It's fundamental. But the practice is also so important and it's often overlooked. When I was younger, I didn't have a person to learn English with, to talk English with. So what I did was I spoke to myself because the other option was not talking at all. I also made a whole video about speaking to yourself and speaking alone. You need to elaborate some sort of way to also be checked, to control that you're not making mistakes. For example, you could record yourself like I'm doing now and you could listen to yourself, and I noticed so many mistakes when I talk to myself because guess what? Nobody's perfect. It's completely normal. So yeah. Of course, I never mention actually taking courses or having a teacher follow you because to me that's like the easiest option. Of course, not the most economical one and not the cheapest option, but it's definitely the best if you need to succeed into learning or, you know, practicing some kind of conversation, speaking, or learning English for some very specific purpose. If you want to learn alone, it's more difficult and it's challenging, but you can absolutely do it. If you want to learn with somebody, a teacher can give great support. You know, at the end of the day, it's still you learning the language, not the teacher doing the work for you. So the teacher is just a guide. And the last piece of advice I will give, this is not to take for granted, okay? One of the biggest reasons why I learned English, as I mentioned in another video, was I wanted to be more flexible in the world we live in. And English opened so many doors for me, so many doors. I want to watch a video about how to repair some jeans, how to produce candles, okay, easier, how to produce candles. I need to watch some tutorials, I need to watch some videos, read some, you know, instructions, get to know about certain procedures, etc., etc. Do it in English. Find interesting materials, find interesting instructions in English. Try to make English the way in which you learn. Absolutely brilliant. How many things I've learned through English. And you could even think about, you know, getting information. For example, watching a documentary that you're really interested in. If you get the instructions to something only in a language, you need to know the language. Otherwise, you just need to, you know, try and guess. When I was getting started with YouTube, and it was still a new thing. Like, I'm from the generation when we grew up and YouTube and social media started to develop. So much content was in English and not in Italian, not in Polish. In English. I needed to learn a technique. I needed to learn how to do something with a program, with anything. I was constantly watching tutorials and videos on YouTube in English. So yes, try to make the language your means and not your goal. I know it's difficult sometimes. I know that it depends a lot on your language level. Of course, you feel like you've succeeded twice, not just once. So yes, I don't know how to call these things. Techniques, methods, definitely not rules, little tips that, you know, I just hope they were helpful enough. I hope they maybe gave you some sort of insight, and I will see you soon with a new video of mine. Bye!